This is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult. You're listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez, and our special intro guest is
Terry Glaze.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any pod catchers, like our Facebook page, or follow us on Twitter at NoShockPod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We'd like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's special guest is Buck Dharma, but before we get to the Buck Dharma interview, Terry's joining us tonight to do a little PR. So, Terry, take it away.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me tonight. I got a new band called Evil Freely, and we have our second single coming out next week. It comes out on Friday the 19th, and the song is called You're Gonna Get It. It's 70s rock and roll stuff, and it's just trying to let everybody know. So that's why I'm here.
Fantastic. Yeah. So we have new music. We're releasing singles at a time. But when can the fans anticipate the entire album to be released?
I think it's probably going to be spring next year. We've got a 5-song EP, rock and roll EP together. And this is the second single coming out, and it's going great. We're just because of the way the world is right now, we're kind of slow dripping it out and hoping to play some live shows in the spring, and that's when we were hoping to release the entire EP.
Oh, fantastic! Awesome. So we don't want to give away too much on the intro, but you're going to be coming back on the podcast, I believe, toward the end of January to give us the whole details of everything. But before we let you go tonight, this interview episode is featuring Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult. What are your thoughts on Blue Oyster Cult? Are you a big fan?
I actually am. And it's funny, I have two daughters, Evelyn and Ida. They're in their 20s. And my daughter, Ida, she loves Blue Oyster Cult.
Cool.
And so it's funny when I'll come in and I'll, have to ask her what she's listening to. And it's either, Blue Oyster Cult or Nazareth or Motley Crue or frickin' Leonard Skinner. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we don't want to wait too long to get to this interview, so we're going to go ahead and head over to the Buck Dharma interview. Terry, thank you for joining us for this intro, and I guess we'll see you in January. Sound good?
Sounds fabulous. And just remind you one more time, Evil Freely, evil with an E. So it's half Evil Knievel, half Ace Frehley, my two favorites in the old world. Evil Freely, our singles called You're Gonna Get It. It's coming out next Friday, the 19th. I hope I see everybody out there soon. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, Terry.
Take care. Have a good night.
You guys be safe.
Be well. Bye-bye. Buck, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce to you my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Buck, this is going to be fun to talk to you tonight.
Hi, Eric, and who else?
Jeff.
Jeff, hello. Nice to talk to you guys.
This is fantastic. We're so excited to have you on the podcast. Thank you for all the correspondence. Last year, Blue Oyster Cult released The Symbol Remains. It's the first album that's been released since the last Blue Oyster Cult album. Was it 2001? Am I right on that?
Yeah, it's about right. My memory is fading with the decades.
Well, with that being said, your thought process and the rest of the band's thoughts on releasing new music during the height of the pandemic. Was that kind of like a preconceived notion that you guys, hey, we're just going to do this anyway? Or how did it all work for you and the rest of the band?
Actually, we did not plan on the COVID SARS-2 there. We didn't see that coming, so we were lucky because we had done the basic tracks in a studio in Dobbs Ferry, New York, before the lockdown. So what we did was finish the record in our own home studios, and then just sort of collaborated over the internet using Zoom-style applications so we could talk to each other. We couldn't play together in real time, but we could sort of listen to what each other was doing, and that's how we did it. And then, we uploaded the individual tracks to a master session, and then it went to Tom Lord-Alge to mix.
Oh, very good. It's like anything else. When you get on the internet, you read all the the clickbait stuff. And when I had read that Blue Oyster Cult was going to be releasing a new album, especially during the pandemic, I thought, okay, this is just clickbait material, and sometimes you can only take about 50% of it as it being true. And then when we found out it was actually a thing, I think Jeff and I here we were just absolutely ecstatic. When the album was released, everything from the sound of the album to the cover art just kind of stood out. I guess maybe the thought process with you and the rest of the band was, what was the approach? How were you going to, take this new album and go with it, since it's been such a long time since the last album was released?
Since anything we would have done would immediately be compared to the legacy stuff, especially the best of the legacy stuff, we really wanted to make a good record. We didn't want to just throw something together and release it, especially after such a long time. So we really put our shoulders and hearts and souls into it. So that's what we did.
And what a fantastic album.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So let's get right into this. So let's go. Do you want to take track one, Jeff, or do you want me to take?
Let's just start with the cover.
Let's go ahead.
How many cover concepts did you put together or to pick from, or was that the one right from the start?
No, we went back and forth with Frontier's graphic artist, who I have to look on the album cover to remember his name, but he's a very capable fella and very creative, and he had a number of concepts, and the band guys went back and forth on it, and we argued about which one we liked, and we went with the one you see, which I think was only one of several really good ideas. So hats off to to that fellow, and you ought to look up his name after we talk, so we can give him proper credit, because he's really good.
Oh, very good. Well, let's get right into this. So let's go right into the track one. That Was Me is an aggressive first song with some interesting transitions, co-written by Eric Bloom, Richie Castellano, and John Shirley. Eric Bloom on lead vocals. What made you and the rest of the band decide, like, hey, this is going to be the first track on the album?
The song is a John Shirley lyric, and John is one of the band's chief lyricists at this point in our career. He's been very strong on the last 3 studio records that we've made over the spanning 25 years or so, and Eric co-wrote it with Richie, and after we recorded it, basically, we listened to all the songs we had, and we figured, this is a really good lead-off track. It's got a right amount of energy and tempo and attitude. So that was pretty unanimous as far as sequencing it as the first cut.
Oh, and a true banger.
There was a little guest on there by Albert Bouchard. Can you talk a little bit about him?
Yeah, that was Albert did the track. He did the Cabo track in his own studio. We asked him to play on it, and when we did the video, which we did at Steve Shank, our manager partner, his daughter's high school during the lockdown period. That's where we did the video for the green screen stuff for the video. Wow. And so we had Albert in there, and he was able to perform on screen with us, so that was great.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. And then song number 2 is "Box in My Head." That was kind of catchy. I remember when I was listening to it, I think I read later that it was a song about trying to intrigue a lady, and then it kind of made more sense. I went back and listened to it again, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, there's room in there for 2.
Yeah, that's another Shirley lyric, and I didn't ask John directly what he had in mind, but to my mind, it sounds like a guy who's just trying to impress somebody, impress a gal, like that. He's sort of mysterious, he's trying to pump himself up a little bit.
Well, you take vocals on this song. Was it kind of like a preconceived notion that you were going to be the lead singer for this song, or was it kind of like a community decision by bandmates?
Yeah, generally what we do with John's lyrics is that Eric will write a lyric that he thinks he can do a good job with, and the same with me. Like I probably wouldn't have done That Was Me. Eric did it, and but Box in My Head was sort of right up my alley.
Well, very good. Yeah. Track number 3, Tainted Blood, Richie Castellano on vocals. It's kind of like a haunting tale, if I would guess. Yeah. How did this song kind of come to fruition?
Well, Eric wrote the words to that, and he was talking about the concept of the song as it came along, and he wanted to write a romantic vampire song. We've got a long history of writing songs about vampirism, and because we kind of dig it from like a cinematic perspective, sort of.
Definitely.
We always like the vampire myth from Bram Stoker's novel through all the great vampire films, the Hammer films of the '60s, and the later efforts. So he wrote the lyric, and Richie Castellano wrote the music with Eric. And when it came time to record it, Eric felt that Richie did a better job singing it than he did. So it was it's Richie's debut in Blue Oyster Cult as a featured vocalist.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Song number 4 is Nightmare Epiphany, yourself and Shirley again on composition. When I first heard this song, it was, I think I wrote down something about upbeat dance number. It kind of it kind of threw me because based on the title, it's probably a little darker, but the song wise, it was a little more upbeat to me. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a Nightmare, another John lyric, and that's a song that I had written a few years ago, and when we got the deal for Frontier, I brought it to the band to record as a Blue Oyster Cult song, and I really like this song. It's a song about two high school kids who meet in a dream, basically, and they don't realize that they both had the same dream, and they sort of discover each other eventually, and it's sort of like the beginning of something else when that happens. But they shared this dream, and it was like a nightmare. It was like the story is that they became attracted to each other because of this dream, and I mean, you have to really listen to the words, but it's a cool thing.
Yeah, very good. Track number 5, Edge of the World, back to Eric Bloom on vocals. The first thing that stood out for me was the smooth vocal harmonies in this song. Can you kind of elaborate more on this track?
Yeah, this is a Richie tune. Richie penned this by himself and brought it to the band, and I really like this one. I think it's got a flavor that really sounds like Blue Oyster Cult, and I think it's a testament to Richie's tenure in the band. He's been in it for a long time now, and I think he really understands what BOC is as a entity, and a mental attitude. So it's one of my favorites on the record.
Oh, it's fantastic. Jeff, you want to take track 6, or do you want me to do it?
No, yeah, the Machine. I read this one is about a cell phone, and then when I started listening to it, I just wrote down a couple of the lyrics there: "A slave to the machine" and "Living the dream." Can you talk about this song?
Yeah. This is a Richie lyric that basically describes modern life with everybody just looking at their cell phone all day, and the fact that you're just basically tethered to it. And in fact, we're well on our ways to becoming cyborgs. We're like half in the Borg bag now with walking around with basically a more powerful computer than you had 20 years ago, right on your hip. So. And the internet, I mean, it's definitely rewiring the way people think. No doubt about it. I originally wanted to sing this song and was gonna, but we got down to the crunch of the record release time, and Richie said, "Well, I'll just sing it," and he did. And I sing the other part, the second part.
Yes,
it's got nice harmonies on it. To me, it sounds like a country song almost. It's almost like a pop country song that you could have heard maybe in 2005 or something like that.
What stood out is Richie's deep, soulful vocals on this track. I just totally love them. It gives me kind of more of like a heavy blues vibe to my ear.
Yeah.
But let's get over to my favorite track on this album, track number 7, Train True. Lenny sung. You're back to lead vocals. Another song that has that unique, almost country style transitions to it. Can you talk about the entire process of the song? Because this song just captivates me every time I hear it.
That's great. We just started playing this live, and it's just going over like a fat rat, so that's great.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
But yeah, before I talk about the song, I just want to make a point that Blue Oyster Cult does all kinds of different style of music.
Yes.
You're not going to hear 12 or 15 songs that sound basically the same. We're all over the place as far as what we do, what we like, what we admire, what we want to emulate or create. So Train True was the bulk of it was written by my son Zeke Roser, and he's in his 40s now. He's got 3 kids and married and all that stuff. And he started this song when he was a college student, and he was taking a commuter train in New Jersey and to college and back, and he would just he imagined the inner life of one of the train conductors, and so that's what the song is about. Yeah. And it's if you follow the story, you could pretty much figure out what's going on. And he and I wrote it together, and it was really terrific father-son project, and I had a lot of enjoyment doing it. And like I said, now we just started playing it live, and it's very gratifying to get the response.
And that being said, is that I am not a country music fan, but this song just sucked me in. And every time I listen to it, it just is so catchy. It is so well done. The transitions are just fantastic. I just can't, it's almost making me kind of.
And it had a little bit of a blues feel for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to take?
Well,
go ahead.
It's definitely Blue Oyster Cult. We put the BOC stamp on everything we do. So it's not surprising that. It doesn't sound like anything in particular, except it's just totally out of left field.
Yeah, absolutely. The return to St. Celia, Richie takes vocals, and it's organ heavy. It's definitely got that 70s classic vibe to it, as far as that John Lord, on keyboards, organ. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit more about the motivation from this song?
Yes. St. Cecilia is a Richard Meltzer lyric. Richard wrote a lot of our earlier first generation stuff, V1 of Blue Oyster Cult. And he wrote the lyric to Burning for You, one of our chart hits. Mm-hmm. And he came back with this for this record. We invited him to contribute. And Richie wrote the music and sings it, and again, I think it's a well structured, right in the BOC pocket, kind of a song. And of course, it features great guitar playing and band playing, as does the whole record.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The next track, so we talked a little bit about how there's a lot of influences and you can hear the different sounds of Blue Oyster Cult. And this is a prime example of that. Stand and Fight is the next track. It was a pretty heavy rocker. One of my favorites on there.
It gave me an epic metal vibe to it.
Yeah.
Would agree, Doug?
Right. Yeah, this is Eric's baby, and he was very insistent that we do at least one song like this on the record, and this is it. He basically created the vibe, and he and Richie, forged the musical part of it, and the band, whipped it all into shape and put it down.
Oh, fantastic! It's a fantastic song.
Yeah.
Track number.
Yeah, and that's pretty deep too. There's a lot of sound effects and things like that on the thing, and it's really a good mood.
Yeah, and Eric's vocals so gruff. It really brings that song to light.
Yeah. Well, he's got that covered. He does that. And I do the more poppy sounding stuff.
Let's move on to track number 10, Florida Man. You're back on lead vocals. Another track with what I feel to be is like unconventional transitions within a song. It has a soulful vibe with a hint of maybe 50s doo-wop. Am I totally off by saying that?
No, I think my influences are from doo-wop on. In fact, even before that, my dad was a tenor sax player and like clarinet and alto also, and he wasn't he played professionally, but not he also had a day job, but he played all that kind of music for me when I was a kid, and I sort of got steeped in all that kind of music as well as what came later. And Florida Man obviously is it's about the whole phenomenon of Florida Man. I mean, everybody knows about the Florida Man by now,
Yeah.
And it's a lot of true examples of Florida Man antics, in the lyric, But the idea is that it's when a Florida Man does something silly or stupid, it's not really his fault. It's the real thing is it's a Seminole curse. Going back to the days of the conquistadors coming to Florida. They were like anybody that comes to Florida from someplace else now is cursed by the Florida Man curse.
Jeff, do you want to take track 11?
The Alchemist is track 11. Another Richie song. By now, I'm starting to what do you call that? Seeing the growth of Richie. I don't know what order the songs were written in, but he's had quite a few songs where he's gotten to sing and take center stage for the band. And can you talk a little bit about this song?
Yeah, The Alchemist is a Ritchie song, and he's basically retelling an H.P. Lovecraft short story.
Yes.
It's what can I say? I mean, the song speaks for itself. It's very gothic. It's very Phantom of the Opera kind of
Yeah.
a vibe, and it's I think it's really cool, and we have that nice dual guitar thing going in the middle of it, and we're working on playing that live now. That's a little harder than some of the other songs we're doing to play live, so we're working on that now. And again, it's another thing we're really proud to have pulled off.
Yeah, I kind of wrote down in my notes. It's Eric's spooky journey on vocals. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's move on to track number 12, Secret Road. You're back on lead vocals. Secret Road gives me that smoky bar vibe. One person sitting at a bar with a cigarette in their hand, drinking a beer. Once again, your guitar solos on this are just breathtaking. Can you talk a little bit more about Secret Road?
Yes. Secret Road is another song, another John lyric that I'd had for quite some time, and actually wrote many years previous to the making of Symbol Remains, and of course I really wanted to record it for the Symbol Remains, and I brought it to the band, and they were going, yeah, okay, and we did it, and did a nice version, and and the Secret Road, the idea of that song is basically that there is that if you're really aware, there is a path, through life with it that you can, really take. It's almost like the stonecutters thing in The Simpsons. You can really get from A to B a little quicker than you would think you could.
Yeah, oh, very good. Track number 13. You want me to take this one, Jeff? There's a Crime. Eric returns to lead vocals. The band speeds things up on this track. This track was written by, I believe, Jeff Denny and Jewel Rodino. Am I saying that right, Rodino?
Jules Rodino.
Yeah, Jules Rodino. Sorry, I did put Jewel down. That being said, this is something that maybe is a little bit different. Different songwriters on this album. Can you kind of talk a little bit about the writers for the song?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, Jules brought us this song that he'd written with Jeff, and I think Jeff was really important to the song, and they had a demo that we started our arrangement off of. We changed it quite a bit, but it's definitely Jeff's concept. This song wound up to be a real sleeper. I think the way it came out, I think, was really surprised us that it was that good. I mean, really, we're really happy with the song. Yeah, and it's funny, you got 14 songs. You can't put all of them in the first four. I think one of the things about Symbol Remains is that the songs are strong all the way through. There's no dead wood on this record.
There is none.
Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah.
Track 14 is Fight, and I read that you actually had released this song as a solo song back in 2015, and then re-recorded it for Blue Oyster Cult to include in this album.
Yeah, I had a version that's on SoundCloud. I think it's still there, so you could compare it. But I wouldn't say it was released. I just sort of just let it out there.
Okay.
And so again, when we decided to make the Symbol Remains, I said the band's got to do the song, and they did, and we did. Yep.
Oh, so cool. And the lyrics for Fight really stick out to me. No blood was spilled. It wasn't much of a fight. The lyrics really stood out for this song. Can you talk a little bit more deeper about the writing process of this last track?
Yeah. That started with a title. Somebody I think it was Ira Rosoff said to me, we're sitting around trying to write a song. He was my neighbor when I lived in Florida, and he's a songwriter himself, and he said, it wasn't that much of a fight, so that just got the gears rolling. The idea of a bar fight that really wasn't a big deal, but you kind of your expectation of what a bar fight might have been, given movies and everything. Just turned out it was none of those things, But every verse, just goes to the build up and then the letdown of it not being so much of a fight.
Oh, so cool. Yeah. Well, this is the last track on the album, so I guess the big question is now, how many songs do you guys have in the can that didn't make it on this album, and will we be seeing another Blue Oyster Cult album on the horizon, that the songs that didn't make it on the symbol remains? What's going on?
Actually, what we did with the 14 songs is that we put them all on the record. We decided to leave nothing off, so it's awesome. Not like we had extra songs at the point that we made this record. So if we make any more recordings, we're going to have to generate stuff from scratch.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes our cover of the album and our review. Before we let you go for the evening, is there anything that we did not cover tonight that you would like to plug or promote?
Plug or promote? Well, we're touring now. We're working through the end of the year. You can find the dates on blueoystercult.com. Next year, we're doing a arena tour with Deep Purple in the UK. That was originally scheduled for 2020. That didn't happen, of course, because of COVID. And then 21, it was scheduled for, but again, it was postponed for. They didn't know if they were going to be able to open arenas yet or whatever. But anyways, next year it's going to happen. So.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a big Europe tour, too, next year. It's the 50th anniversary of Blue Oyster Cult.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Well, before we let you go, we would want to let you know that this is probably going to be released in a couple weeks. We have a couple episodes to release before yours, but as soon as Jeff, the editing wizard over here, is ready to let this one be released, I will send it to you immediately, and please share it wherever you can. We'll have it all over our socials. Thank you so much, Buck.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for all the correspondence. It's been a pleasure. We'll be back in touch with you in a couple weeks. I'll send you the link. And
let me know when my fans can hear it, and I'll put it up on my board.
Oh, absolutely. Buck, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Great.
Thank you so much.
All right, Eric. Right, Jeff.
Take care. Have a good night.
Night.
Bye.